welcome to
Hello.
November. Hello. So Anna, I don't love the month of November because it's normally so gray and icky. And this month, this sunshine streaming in, it has
Fabulous.
not been gray and icky. It's
Mm.
maybe been the best November ever. But what I do love about November is being thankful.
I agree. And what a lovely day today is, isn't it, Marty?
Oh, yes.
Oh, just perfection, right?
Yes.
Perfection. And even some of the trees still have lovely colors.
Yes.
So, yeah, for it being so dry as it was, you're right. We've had a lovely fall.
We absolutely have. And to it be November 15th and it's like 65 degrees today.
Yep.
And there has not been many rainy days in November. I used to always do bus duty in November. And I just always hated that because I knew more days than not would involve an umbrella. Boy, that has not been the case. So many things to be thankful for. And Anna, something we didn't talk about earlier, I'm thankful for our viewers. I'm so glad.
Aren't you? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So thankful. And, they've given us such wonderful feedback back and appreciation. And it just really warms your heart, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And
very blessed.
So we are thankful also to Keep Indiana Learning for giving us a platform to talk about books every month. I mean, and they're right there. I could talk for a really long time about books.
For sure.
Yeah. So before we get into our books this month, and our topic for this month is books we're thankful for, which that was a fun exercise in and of itself. But Anna, let's talk a little bit just in general. What are things you're thankful for as it relates to your literacy life?
I was thinking about that. I'm so thankful that we have such wonderful access to books.
Yeah.
You and I are able to purchase them if we can.
Yep.
And if we don't really necessarily want to purchase them, we have a wonderful means to get them. And I know that I talk about this all the time, but this is definitely one that that you showed me, ma'am, a few years ago, and that was Libby. And all we need is a library card and our smartphone, and we can get the app for free. And here we go. And we can get our books fairly quickly.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I just think that is something I've been very thankful for, especially when I travel. A lot of times I don't want to carry the book, and I just have it on my phone. So it's really been to me a lovely, lovely gift that you, my friend, showed me. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad because I'm not an e-reader. I am a book reader. Hold my physical book, but I'm so thankful for the library because I don't want to pay to buy all the books I read. Nor do I want to store them. When I had a classroom library, I didn't have that excuse. And so I bought Half Price Books, and I were real good friends. That I would buy books, take them to my classroom because I knew students would read them. And that was fantastic. Now that I don't have a library to stock, I don't need that many books in my house. Yeah. And so I'm a huge fan of the library, and I'm just so thankful. And my love of the library goes way back to growing up.
Yes.
So, and I grew up in the same county Abraham Lincoln grew up in here in Indiana, Spencer County, way down on the river. And I loved Abraham Lincoln. My mom knew my library card number. This is old school when they put the card in the back of who had checked out that book. My mom knew my library card number, so she would pull it out and say, "Nope, Marty's already read this one. Oh, Marty, you've already read this one. You don't need it either." So I read all the Abraham Lincoln kid books my library had, and because it didn't cost anybody anything. And of course, my mom would say yes to a library book. It didn't cost anything.
Right.
So I'm just so thankful for the library. And Anna, I'm also really thankful for teachers who get books in kids' hands.
And thank goodness for our teachers, because they are some of the first people to introduce books
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
students. And so you are absolutely right. Thank you, teachers, so much for what you do for all of our kids across this wonderful state to get them exposed to good books.
And I hadn't thought about that even if the kiddos' parents are reading at home, they're probably not reading the breadth of books because the parents have things they like or that they're comfortable with. But we're in a classroom, this student is realizing, oh, wait, if I want to learn about bats, there's all these books about bats.
Right.
And if I want to learn about the ocean, there's all these books about the ocean. And so just the breadth and just having an understanding that books aren't just stories, books contain facts. And that's really important. Like, I'm not going to Google everything. Sometimes I'm going to go to a book and find information. And I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. So we've got a lot to be thankful for, Martie.
Absolutely. And I mean, we didn't even talk on anything else. We just touched on literacy topics that we're thankful for, and just so very grateful. So, Anna, our theme for this month is books we're thankful for, which I don't know about you, but I found to be an interesting exercise. So what do you have to talk about today, and how what made this book become, or books become, that for you?
Right. Well, I know I've mentioned this book a couple of times, but this really, it really hit me hard. And the first one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. I think it says that they have sold over 15 million copies, Atomic Habits. And Martie, I know that you know me, and I'm either all in or not.
Right.
Okay. Let's do it or not. Right. And that always sets me up for failure, quite frankly, in January the 2nd, to be exact. I'm all in January the 1st, and then something happens on the 2nd or the 3rd or the 5th, and you know what I mean? And then I give up, or I get down on myself, etc.
Oh, wait a minute. You mean you're human, Anna? Is that what I'm hearing?
But the whole premise of this book is teeny little changes. Start just little. Of course, I'd love to lose 30 pounds.
Sure.
Okay. But he said, don't go with 30, go with maybe a pound. Or 2 at the most. Some people go out and say, I'm going to run a marathon. And he says, stop. Run a mile first. And then another mile, because his whole thing is that you're going to be doing better than when you started. However you look at this, you'll be doing better.
Yes.
And so it doesn't matter that you didn't get to a whole marathon. At least you're being able to run a 5K or a half a marathon, which was more than when you started.
Absolutely.
And I really love that. I really love that, because too many times it's either all or nothing. It's either you're in or you're not. And, that's been that mindset. And he is saying, stop with that mindset, because you will fail every single time. And even if you would run the marathon, then most people sit there and say, I will never run a marathon again. And he said, so now you're back to 0.
Right.
So he is saying teeny steps. And Martie, that really has hit home for me in numerous things. In numerous things. Whether it be, exercise or poundage or you know what I mean? Reading.
Well, shoot, I was thinking, Anna, cleaning my house.
Oh, cleaning your house.
Yeah, there's the idea of I want to clean my house, but that feels overwhelming. But I can clean this bathroom.
Exactly. And that's exactly what he is saying.
Yeah.
So it's better than not cleaning it at all.
Exactly.
And so I really have applied that thought process and others, but really that thought process in numerous aspects in my life.
Yeah.
And bottom line is, let's give ourselves some grace. At least we're trying to improve.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I love that book. That really has helped me. It's really helped me. I'm very thankful for that book.
Yeah.
And another book, can I share another one, or do you want to share and then I share?
Go for it, because I you gave me a sneak peek and I'm really excited about this. So yes, please share.
Okay. So as you know, I go all across the state and even into Illinois, doing consulting, etc. And it's very daunting for the teachers and for me. And so I have always started out with a read aloud, if you will, to kind of break the ice and, for everybody to kind of settle down a little bit and not feel so threatened or, what's going to happen, what is she going to do, etc. And that's all fine and dandy to do numerous different, read alouds, primarily elementary read alouds. But I just came upon this past year, and I absolutely love it. And it's What Do You Do with an Idea? And as you can tell, it is an independent publication book award. It is written by Kobe Yamada, and he is a New York Times bestseller. But I love this because, we are first and foremost teachers.
Yeah.
And we are thinking of ideas of how to help our students, how to reach them, how to nurture them, how to, help them progress, right? And a lot of times people sit there and go, oh, bad idea. It's not going to work. What do you know? I know more. I've been here longer, et cetera, et cetera. And so I like to read this book because it really does talk about a child and his idea.
Yeah.
And do you mind if I read just a little bit?
Oh, please do, because I love this book. I used to use it in my classroom. I don't know if I have a copy at my house or not, but I love this book.
Yeah. There you go. I love that. Look at the illustrations are great. Yeah. But then I realized, what do they really know? This is my idea. I thought, no one knows it like I do. And it's okay if it's different and weird and maybe a little crazy. I decided to protect it, to care for it. I fed it good food. I worked with it. I played with it. And most of all, I gave it my attention. My idea grew and grew, and so did my love for it. I built it a new house, one with an open roof, where it could look up at the stars, a place where it could be safe to dream. This is such a good book. And I hope that when I do read it, that teachers will know that I come from a good place, and I just want to give them some of my ideas, and I will also honor theirs and respect theirs as well.
Yeah.
So,
oh, Anna, I'm so glad you brought that book. It is so beautiful and so encouraging. And thank you.
So I've, like I said, I've changed now my way of doing those read alouds, and I've stuck with this book, and I've read it sometimes twice, and every time teachers come up to me and say, "Thank you, I got something else out of this." So that was good.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm thankful for that book.
Yes. Well, so Anna, when we settled on this topic, I struggled a bit because often when we pick a theme for our show, I instantly know these are the books I want to talk about. And I mean, like, I got a list and I'm ready. And then this month, I didn't, and then I forgot about it. And so then I'm like, oh, I need to figure out my books. And so what I did was I sat down, I track all my books I read on an Instagram account that I started with my students. And so, because I'm a cover person and I can remember, oh, it was a blue cover. I can't tell you title, author, but I can tell you it had a blue cover, by golly. So
visual learner.
Absolutely. A complete visual person. And so I sat down and I scrolled back through my Instagram for this year. And I'm like, what books out of this? I don't know. I think I'm at like 45, 46 books I've read this year. I'm like, what am I thankful for? So I picked 3, an adult, YA, and a middle grade. And once I had those picked, then I realized, oh, wait, there's a theme amongst those books.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I didn't set out with that in mind, that I had a theme. It was after I picked them that I realized, wait. And so I'm going to share my theme first, and then I'll share the specific titles.
Okay.
But what I realized is I'm thankful for books that I can learn from. And learn can mean all kinds of different things. Like, from what do I do with an idea? I've actually got an idea kicking around in my brain of something I've been chewing on for a bit. And so, like that book, I learned something from that. Even you just reading those 3 pages today, it was that inspiration of, you're on the right track. You just keep nurturing that idea and figure out how he grows, how he dreams, and what becomes of him. So books that I learned from. So the 3 I chose, this is the adult one. It's kind of timely. It's in the movie theaters right now. It is Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann. And so you can see here the Osage murders and the birth of the FBI. This book won the National Book Award. It's been around, I would say 10-ish years, heavy on the ish there. I didn't think to look it up. Oh no, I was wrong. 2017, not as old as I thought.
Okay.
Yeah. The movie's fine. The book is 1,000 times better. And always, I know. But I had no idea. This is all true. I had no idea this went on in Osage, Oklahoma, in the 1920s and 30s. And it truly continues the theme we talked about last month, that truth is stranger than fiction.
A lot of times.
Yeah, you're going to be frustrated if you read this, and angry and all the things. But then at the end, you realize, man, there are still there are good people in the world doing good things. And I love this book. So Killers of the Flower Moon, highly recommend. Then this is a book I've talked about on the show. I think I talked about it in October with our banned books. But my YA book this year that I'm thankful for is Dear Martin.
You love that book.
I do love that book.
Yes, you do.
And what saddens me every time I talk about it is how long it took me to read it. It's been out a long time, and I just never picked it up. And shame on me, because I should have. Yeah. But what I've decided I'm going to do is read Dear Justice, which is the second book. And then Nick Stone, the author, just not too long ago, hinted on her Instagram page that she's writing a third one.
No way.
Yeah. So I don't know where that's going to go, because in this one, Justice, the teenager, writes to Dr. King. And
right.
Dr. King writes to Justice.
Yes.
So I don't know where the third one goes. And I don't remember when it's going to come out. but I'm super excited. So I am going to pick up Dear Justice and read it and then be ready for the third one.
Oh, for sure. When do you think it'll come out?
I don't know. I don't remember her saying, so I don't know. I don't want to speculate.
Just was wondering. Yeah,
no idea. So that's my YA book I'm thankful for this year. And then here's one I haven't talked about on the show. I don't even remember where I heard about this book, but it'll make my top 9 reads for this year. It is called Freewater. You can see it won the Coretta Scott King Award, which I've never read a Coretta Scott King Award winner that I did not love, and this one did. And it also won a Newbery. Can't go wrong. And maybe that's where I heard about it, was when it won the Newbery. So Freewater, and it is long. But don't let that intimidate your middle grade readers, because the chapters are really short. I mean, like 2 pages. This would be a great classroom read aloud because the chapters are so short. It's high action. You're going to love the characters and you're going to learn something. What I learned from this book, I had always learned that when enslaved people escaped the plantations in the South, they typically escaped to Canada. Like that was the goal. And then they would settle in the North if that's where it worked out. But like Canada was the goal. But always
and to try to get far, far away.
Yes, long distance travel.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that is not always the case. I learned due to reading Freewater.
Really?
Sometimes they escaped to communities, and that's the word they use, communities literally a handful of miles from where they started. That entire communities set up in the woods, very isolated, typically surrounded by water, so dogs couldn't smell across the water, but entire communities of escaped enslaved people living single-digit miles from where they started.
Oh, I had no idea.
No idea until I got to the end of this book and I read the author's notes. And I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
How had I not learned that? And Anna, here, let me just add one more mind-blowing fact to this. Let me get the number right.
Okay.
The largest of these communities covered over 1,500 square miles and stretched from Virginia to North Carolina.
No way.
So these are not small. So I'm like,
no,
this is history that we need to know. And I learned about it by reading with this great main character.
And you would have never read about it in a social studies book.
No. And so I spent hundreds of pages with this guy, and I can't remember his name. It's Homer. That's right. And his community and how they survived and how they escaped. And oh my gosh, fantastic book. Like I said, it'll make my top 9 for this year because I learned so much, and it's just a great book. So,
I would love to read that. Yeah.
Highly recommend.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my theme. I realized I love stories, but I love them when I learn. And so we don't have to just pick up a nonfiction book. Nothing wrong with Atomic Habits. Nothing wrong with Killers of the Flower Moon. Perfectly great nonfiction books. But man, we can learn with.
Oh, yes, we can. And, it kind of goes back to those behaviors to notice and support that we talked about in August, right?
Yeah.
And in order to be a good reader as an adult, that is something that you need to do, is think more deeply and sit there and say, what could I learn from this?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you do that every single time you pick up a book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. There is something to be learned.
Learning.
Always.
I love that, Martie. Thank you.
Oh, Anna, what a fantastic show that when we picked this theme, I'm like, I don't know where this is going, but I love where it went.
I do too. I do too. And, bottom line for both of us, it made us better, didn't it?
Absolutely.
It did. It
Always.
did for this year. So
absolutely.
I'm very thankful for that.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, friends. We would love to hear your thoughts. Leave us a comment on the YouTube channel. Reach out to us independently. You can find us on X/Twitter. You can find us in all the places. So we would love to hear from you.
Everywhere. Yep. Thank you all so much. And everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. And always remember to be well,
do good work,
and keep in
keep
touch.
in touch.
Thank you.